So boom, fucking freaking. Everything needs to pay for itself in my life.
Yeah.
I cannot afford anything else.
And it's a write-off. Everything's a write-off.
Because I know what that means. And I pay my taxes.
I do my taxes,
They
by
do,
the way.
and they're the ones writing it off.
Yeah. I think the IRS has written me off. We're never getting any money from that fucking
They got
guy.
bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, dude. I'm the amount of money they'd have to pay one civil servant to get anything that I have ever owed them would fully cancel itself out.
Well, it's heartbreaking when you learn that the IRS, they go after smaller financed people like because it's easier for them paperwork wise. Like if you go to after a millionaire, there's so much work you have to look at. There's so many different accounts, and they do it on purpose. They know that everybody, no matter what your job is, boils down to you're lazy.
Right.
Nobody wants to do their job.
Yes.
So by going after small regular
Which
people,
is
it's
why
easier.
I do crowd work. I don't have to write a joke. I go, are you two homosexual near each other?
Yeah.
And make it funny, please.
Yeah. You tell me. And does anyone here have a good story?
I was just saying literally like an hour ago, like the tragedy of the comedians that have been doing comedy since the 80s that are, largely crowd work comics or had the same act, and their crowd work, it doesn't, the thing that's worked for 40 years doesn't work anymore when they're like two single guys, two friends sitting with each other. Like, what are you guys, gay? You used to get a standing ovation.
Oh, yeah.
And now people either are like, yeah. And then people are
Yes.
like, well.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's bad. You
Yeah,
just
yeah,
start saying-
yeah.
Well, I used to have a bit about how funny it is now that kiss cams are gone. Because kiss cams would be, a couple kissing, a couple kissing, and they'd always end it with two guys sitting next to each other wearing the opposing team's jersey. And the joke is, haha, gay guys.
Right.
Yeah.
And they can't do it anymore. The woke culture has taken the kiss cam from us.
Wow. We're getting into it early, guys. We're really unraveling it here.
I think there was like, I think it was like a, I don't know, maybe it was like Sabrina Carpenter show, like some like big pop star has like a kiss cam at their show, and there was like they put like two people on a kiss cam, and it was like I think the girl like how you can like write just really big on your like Instagram story and turn it sideways. I think it was like, that's my brother and he's gay. And you're like, yeah, that's what you get for putting your kiss cam on two people at a Sabrina Carpenter show.
Absolutely.
I just read a thing about Sabrina Carpenter that she's 5 foot.
Yeah, she's tiny.
Yeah,
That's like
she's
crazy.
little.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's a financial thing for the people in the industry plants. And like, if we get smaller pop stars, we can feed them less.
Yeah.
Less plain, less.
They require less maintenance.
They don't need the leg room on the plane.
Yeah, they wear
dude.
doll clothes, so they're not really
exactly.
less suitcases.
You put them in the overhead, they're sleeping there.
Yeah.
When a woman is
5 foot is crazy.
It's so short.
When a woman's that small, I don't even like. I'm not particularly want to have sex with them, but I do want to like give them orange slices and make them go do laps before soccer practice.
That's what makes me very uncomfortable is when people, and Ariana Grande, I think it's like 5'2" or something. So it's like people that are like, who think like Ariana Grande is like the fucking hottest person in the world. You're like, you're outing yourself as a pedophile. Like she has like pigtails. She dresses like a child. She's short like a child. She looks, sounds, and talks like a child. Like this is a baby.
And it's when people are like, who's your celebrity crush? I go, Dame Judi Dench. You're not catching me on anything.
The woman from Ted Lasso. Whatever. Hannah Waddington.
Rebecca. Is her name in the show? Rebecca.
I think her name was in the show. Hannah Waddington. I don't know.
I saw her. I've seen her in person. She looks like she's 6'8". I mean, she's the tallest person I've ever seen in my life.
You're like 9'4". I'm
9'4". Yeah, I'm 9'4". Yeah. I have 6 minutes to live. Yeah.
I have such a little amount of blood. It's insane.
Yeah. Please send help.
Where did you see her?
I was at a
in her house. You're looking through the bushes.
Yeah. She keeps the blinds open. No, she's. I went to a couple years ago. I went to like a Michael Bublé like it was a NBC Christmas taping. Like they were doing a Michael Bublé Christmas special at where they take SNL, and she was one of the people on it, and it was just crazy how tall she was. And she's like very beautiful, and she's got crazy pipes. She's
singer,
a Broadway. She's a Broadway singer. She really is quite talented.
I guess when you're that tall, you should be able to sing loud.
Why is that?
But the diaphragm is so far away.
More of her to push more sound out. Why do you think opera singers are fat?
Oh, I thought it was like being an opera. You get paid so well.
Oh no.
And you'd be like, oh, I want abundance.
See, I would think it's further. Your diaphragm's further from your voice, so you have to use from your throat. So you have to use more to get it out. Versus if you're shorter, it's right there, it comes flying out.
Mike's almost seeing it like how a big room has a bigger echo, like the sound bounces around in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of more of like an airflow power kind of way.
Okay.
But then I'm like, what do tall guys yell louder? I don't think that's true.
Short guys yell louder, but we can't hear them up here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's
it's
the
a
problem.
yeah,
They
it's a
don't
distance
reach
thing.
a certain.
Ha ha.
How tall are you guys? You guys aren't
Yeah,
short.
no, we're not short. You're just taller than us.
That is how I measure everything. By the way, is like if someone's like that person's tall. It only in the context they have to be taller than, even if they're an inch taller than me. I go, oh, that person's tall.
Yeah.
That person's 1 inch shorter than me. That person's short. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how.
Yeah.
And if someone's my height, I'm like, I'm probably a little bit taller than them.
Yeah.
No one's ever been my height.
I'm better in bed though.
Anytime I have to describe a guy, I go, he's like short and ugly.
You really downplay every other man.
Yeah. I don't know. He's poor, it seems.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is bad.
I feel that way with intelligence. Like anyone dumber than me is the dumbest person that's ever lived. Anyone smarter than me is a genius.
Yeah. That's interesting. I see everyone who's smarter than me is like just like an egotistical, like just like a loser. You know what I mean? Like one of these,
you're
like,
a nerd.
Nerds,
Yeah, you think
dude.
you're better than me. And
Yeah.
you're like, and they're like, statistically, I am.
Yeah. You're like only a nerd would cite that. You know?
Yeah. No, that's fun. But we're right on the high end of average. I think average is like 5'9", 5'8", 5'9".
I think
I'm 6 foot,
5'7".
5'11".
Yeah.
Yeah. 5'7",
It's perfect
5'8".
size.
Yeah.
My buddy's 5'7". The 5'7" is brutal.
That's
brutal.
really because
It's a tough life.
You're not so short that that's like the way to describe you,
Right.
but you're
Right.
not tall enough to,
Be attractive.
I just think if you have to be like, what size shirt are you, and you have to say small,
Yeah.
it just hurts to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Even if you're jacked, it's like a small. Like it just feels emasculating. I think.
I agree. And I think it's a problem in our society.
Oh shit! God, you're always bringing up society.
Damn it.
I fucking hate when you bring up society. Dude.
Yeah, no, it's an interestingly hard life. If you were like, I think 5'7", 5'8", where you're like, you're a guy.
Yeah, but I've seen so many. It is crazy how many 5'8" and 5'7", 5'8" guys I know that just it's like a stereotype of how much of a Napoleon complex they have. You know?
Yeah.
And it's a real problem. But it is fun to look down on those people, both literally and metaphorically.
In so many ways.
Yeah.
But those kind of guys, they'll find jujitsu. And they'll get real arrogant about
That's
it.
what everybody tells me. They're like, you're going to be, once you figure out your body, you're going to be a real problem because they're like tall. They're like tall is the best. But everyone's usually like short, compact. And I'm like, it makes it so hard because they have the brute strength thing and I'm getting fucking tossed. I'm bum tossed everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I always say, because people ask me questions all the time.
Yeah.
I would say,
What are you doing in my house?
I go, can you get out, please? I'm in the shower. With jiu-jitsu, it's cool because like the great equalizer where like every anatomy has an advantage and a disadvantage. It's like tall, lanky guys like ourselves, handsome too.
Perfect hair.
Triangles and darces, that's right up our alley. We're able to do that stuff all day and night, but also more limbs to submit. It's way easier to catch us in arm bars than a guy whose arm is half the size.
And they can overcome technical inabilities with brute force.
Yeah,
because
you're just like,
yeah,
you're like, damn it,
yeah,
give me that fucking arm back.
Yeah.
I think I kind of have the perfect body for jiu-jitsu.
I agree.
Did you do jiu-jitsu too?
I did for a little bit. I'm not going right now because
he's not going right now. He's healing. He's letting his body heal.
I'm full of injuries, pal.
When did you start?
In March will be 2 years that I was doing it.
Beautiful.
And but I've had so many injuries that it's been like the first class I ever took in jiu-jitsu, I immediately got like a strained oblique.
Jesus.
Like because I think that I just had the classes that I go to like one of those Enzo Gracie places, but the times that I go, no, I'm in Queens.
Okay.
But I go to the ones that like are in the middle of the day, and it's all. The one I go to is all cops and all firemen, and they're just thick-necked, just fucking yoked like monsters, dude. Like
5'6" cubes.
Not only are they not, and some of them are like tall monsters. Like, not only are they more muscular than me, like, I'm rolling with guys sometimes that are like 260, and you're like, come on, man. Like, and I don't know what I'm doing. So the first day they just probably had me in side control, and I was just trying to bench press them off me, and just struggling. And I strained it, and then it was like I took a week off, came back, immediately hurt it, took a month off, felt great, came back, first roll, hurt it again. 7 months of me coming back, getting hurt, coming back, getting me, and like just fighting through it. And then I finally got one of those like almost like corsets for your ribs kind of a thing, and that helped. Then this is comedic. The day, I'm not making this up, the day that I finally felt healed from it, and I declared at the beginning of the class, I'm like, the rib, because everyone knew me, I was like, ribs. The day that I declared my ribs were healed, pummeling warm-up, I broke my toe. Just like catching not even on anybody. I caught my toe on the mat and then stepped on it because I was already moving forward. Just snapped it. And I did the whole rest of the class because I never broke a toe. I didn't know what it felt like. I was like, it hurts, but like, I think it's okay. And then it just blew up and turned black and blue. So then the one toe broke. And then I caught this brutal, like Liz Frank injury, which is like basically... So,
like the drawings of the cats and the
like
rainbows.
the Trapper Keepers, the pink Trapper Keepers. Lisa Frank.
That's a Lisa Frank injury.
This is like a Liz Frank injury, and it's basically like from your foot, like your big toe, all the way up, kind of a thing.
Whoa.
And so I had a guy. He was in like turtle, and I was kind of like trying to go around him, and he did some move where he swung his foot up to kind of post over, but I had my foot. This is such hard to describe. But I basically was
grab the grappling dummy I have.
Yeah. If you basically think of like doing a push up, like when you're up on your toes like that, I was up on my toes, and his foot came over and spiked down on my heel, and so my like big toe and foot just kind of cranked like that.
A lot of compression.
And the guy who's the professor at my school is like, he's like, you're so lucky that it didn't break, because he's like, I had the same Liz Frank injury. He goes, the same exact way that happened. He goes, I have 12 screws in my foot. I had a huge surgery from it.
Jesus.
So it's been like 3.5 months, and I'm still rolling. I took like a week off, and then I'm still rolling. And basically, it's okay. I just have to tape it. But then, like, anytime I stub my toe or like knock it, it hurts all the way up the foot.
Vietnam flashbacks.
It just is. I've never been fully healthy, but if that's my worst injury right now, then it's kind of going okay.
Honestly, good on you, because a lot of times when people get hurt in jiu-jitsu, that's the last time you see them.
I know.
Coming back is the hardest thing.
Here's the thing: is that it's so close to my house, and I hate going to the gym, and I hate exercising so much that this is like, I love ways of, I used to play basketball a lot because I love tricking myself into exercise. And this is also fun because you're learning. And I've always been this build, so I've never felt like a menace to people, you know what I mean? Or like a threat. So it is kind of cool to know
a little bit,
you know what
right?
I mean? Like you act like
now you're rubbing your hands being like, I hope some homeless guy gets crazy on this train.
And then wants to lay on his side and promise to not punch and kick.
Punch. Come on, be a gentleman.
Because that's the funny thing too, is always like, I feel like I'm pretty good at holding people in my guard, and I'm just like, and then I try to struggle what to do. But it is that funny thing of being like, if this was on the street, the thing that I would feel the most comfortable with would net me the biggest amount of just them just fucking grounding and pounding me.
I hate this.
Just going up to a homeless guy and trying to fight him, but being like, all right, brother.
And then you start
like,
scooting towards him.
Boom,
But
boom, you're like, oh fuck.
I only say that, like, right now I feel I'm a 4-stripe white belt, and my only weaknesses at the current moment are offense and defense. But everything else, I'm feeling pretty confident.
I have the mind of an athlete.
I can put the gi on. I know how to tie the belt.
There's one time,
I know
like,
how to bow.
There are those guys that, like, because it does start to become that community kind of a thing of, like, there's so many. I just get, especially for some reason, I go to usually Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I go 3 days a week. Usually this week I went 4, and I do normally gi, but now I've started doing no gi again, which is a whole different sport. It's a whole different world, and the fucking grabbing to the neck and all that, it's a whole different thing. But it is funny, and tell me if we're doing too much jiu-jitsu talk,
Never.
by the way.
There's no such thing as...
Okay, perfect. For the audience. So
there's no audience.
It's not recording.
This is a drawing of us.
I have a guy going crazy with crayons on the other side of the wall. You're like...
But there are times when, like, I've noticed there's just people who have been just dominating me since I started, and they're either blue belts or higher. And like the Thursday classes, for some reason, I'm always the only white belt, and I'm just getting crushed by these guys. But then I've I've like got lucky into tap. Anytime I've ever tapped somebody who's above me in a belt, I've tapped a couple blue belts, a purple belt, 2 purple belts, and 1 brown belt. But all of them were from the same thing, which was the same exact issue, which was they all made the mistake of I caught them crossing their legs when they had me from my back, and so I just do that thing, and like, dude, and I think it's because, and everybody knows that's like a don't do that move, but I think they think I was so new that I wouldn't know that, or just like for a second, and I just kind of sit there like a snake and kind of fucking wait for that. Yeah. But each time I've done that to the person, even the guy I just did it to, who's like a multi-stripe blue belt, but I've been rolling with him for a while, and he's a cop, and he just goes, after I got that, he just went, you know, I got to crush you now, right? I know. And I got tapped like 4 times in 30 seconds. It's like, God damn.
He's like, that's a 613, and I'm calling it in.
I'm immediately like, ow, ow, ow. Yeah.
He's got a blue utility belt. Like,
it's brutal. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very, it is, I never feel like I know anything until, you know, I see the kids in the starter gi and they're their first class and they're just like me, because I'm not a guy who came from like any sort. I did Tiger Schulman's when I was like 12,
nice.
You know, but I have no fighting experience.
I met him.
Tiger?
Yeah.
Mr. Tiger?
He sat behind me. He sat behind me in a MMA documentary screening that I was invited to.
Whoa.
And it was like, Tiger Schulman was literally behind me, and it was a bunch of other like MMA journalists.
What does he look like?
White guy. Older white guy, Jewish, probably. But like,
Yeah,
like a guy where you're like, you have money. I can tell you, you look really clean and like, Like you look nice, and he was like, you wouldn't have guessed. It was just weird because we were talking about. There's a famous incident where Tito Ortiz and Lee Murray. Lee Murray is an MMA fighter who has the biggest bank heist of all time in the UK.
Okay,
he's in prison in Morocco right now. He knocked out Tito Ortiz in front of a nightclub, and it's like this whole big thing of like, did it really happen? Did it not happen? And one of the guys was actually there and goes, I saw it with my own eyes. And then this other guy behind me starts talking, and someone goes, yeah, that's right, I know that Tiger. And then my friend who's a journalist goes, that's Tiger Schulman. And I go, oh, interesting. That was a real person.
Someone told me that a black belt in karate or Tiger Schulman's basically like a purple belt in like jiu-jitsu.
It was a while ago. I'll commend them. They've done a really good job of being like, we're MMA now, and we're just doing MMA now.
Yeah.
It's no longer
It used to be Tiger Schulman's karate.
Now they really did a good job of
pivoting.
But,
I don't know. But I forgot even what my point of my thing saying that before. What was I even talking
Crushed
about before
by
Tiger Schulman's? After the cop thing, before the Tiger Schulman thing.
You didn't come from...
Oh, yeah. How you started?
Yeah. I have no... my UFC knowledge and interest was basically like Conor McGregor. You know what I mean? So like that was my... Like if anytime I was on, and because I never would buy the pay-per-views, if it was on and somebody was like playing it or was interested, or if I'd hang out with Lewis and he was playing it, I'd watch it and I'd always enjoy it. But I didn't like, I don't know. I know like Khabib, and I knew, Izzy. I know like the top stars.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Of course.
But like I don't like follow it that much. But I'll play the game. I'll play like the UFC game. But then I play the creator player guy. So I'm doing my own thing. So when I came into jiu-jitsu, like every single thing was a new language.
Yeah.
Like I even side control, mount, all of these words were like meant nothing to me. And so I felt, and then when they're like, okay, now Osotogari, and you're like, I don't even, you're literally speaking a different language. So it was so overwhelming. So when I see these guys where they're in starter gis and I'm just showing them, even like, you pair up with them, you're like just showing them how to break grips. Then you go, oh fuck, that's when you realize how much you've learned.
Exactly.
Is when you're teaching a younger guy, and then it makes you feel good. And I would do this stupid thing where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna pair myself up with the new guy because it'll be like easier. I can go slower, and then I'll like crush them when we roll. But they're the worst people to roll with because they're so fucking spazzy, and they're
useful in a way to always almost like a measuring stick for reality. Because jiu-jitsu, it's jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu, and then jiu-jitsu versus the ignorant. And jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu is forever, right? We both keep getting better. We keep evolving the techniques. We keep getting better at displaying our own intent and our own enjoyment. Like, oh, I like playing X card. I like playing reverse De La Riva. You do that. But then you need to come back to the ignorant and being able to deal with a completely ignorant person of what jiu-jitsu is, and knowing that they're not going to follow the same paths you know.
Right.
And they're going to behave so strangely with weird intensity that you're like, oh, right.
Flailing
They're
their head.
I did a private and I took this guy's back. I'm like, oh, so you want to escape. You want to leave between my legs. And he just slams the back of his head into my face. And I go, I never thought of that. I never thought of that.
I guess you couldn't get out of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting though, dude. Is like you get those little measuring sticks where you're like, okay, the person that used to crush me, like I just passed a guy for the first time that I had never come close to passing, and then he immediately reversed it. But I was like,
still counts. Still counts.
Yeah.
Dude,
Success is glimpses.
And then Skankfest was obviously like the greatest feeling of my life. It was my best Skankfest moment. I did the comedian jiu-jitsu tournament, which I got signed up for, and I was against Sam Tripoli because he was the only other white belt. And then, by the way, it was supposed to be gi. He wasn't wearing the jacket. He was only wearing the gi pants. And he was wearing
that's no gi.
That's
no gi.
Yeah, and not cool because he has grips and I got nothing to grab onto or whatever. But he went for a single leg and I caught him in a guillotine.
Nice.
And that feeling of like because it was outside,
It's
like 1,000 people,
and
and like having 1,000, it was like the most gladiatorial I've ever felt. It's like when I got my legs around him and got that tap, and just there's a moment of like Lewis and everyone's like jumping up and down and hearing the crowd pop, and I'm like embarrassed. I'm embarrassing. I'm like, dude, let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. Have that, you fucking queens.
It's so crazy, baby.
You could conspiracy theory your way out of that one.
Yeah, I know.
Hit him with the flat Earth guillotine.
That's how I got him to tap. I was like, the Earth's round. He's like, what? But
smoking weed is bad. Throws up.
And then I had to go up against Sydney, who was
Sydney's very good.
Yeah. By the way, Sydney, he won the whole thing, but he told me he was impressed because I lasted like a minute and 30 seconds with him.
My girlfriend told me that.
And I got it. What?
I said my girlfriend told me that.
That's fun. I like that.
Sexually.
Sorry. But I got out of an arm triangle and I got out of 2 other submissions that he did because I was like, oh, I got out of 2. He's like, you actually got out of 3. The 4th one he got me because he got my back and then he flattened me out.
Yeah.
And I looked like a fucking U.
Yeah,
But he's one of those guys. I forgot what he had on me initially. Maybe it was the arm triangle he's trying to do. His eyes, while he's like most people are like, they're doing his dead eye contact while doing and the lack of struggle on his face while I'm like, dude, this is what it looks like when someone's like choking you to death. When they're like just like not even anger, just like go.
That's rolling with him is like that. It's so funny because he is so blank. I'm like, you love me, right? We're best friends, right? This isn't gonna end strange, correct?
Yeah, like you need to be able to complete a difficult task at 0 with no emotion attached to it. Not to say no effort physically, but limited. The name of the game is efficiency.
Yeah.
So like I have a strong opinion that most people aren't doing jiu-jitsu. Most people are doing submission grappling, which is fine, but you're not being true to what jiu-jitsu is, which is efficiency first and being able to defend yourself. And I think of it as like lock picking. Like I'm just I got out, no big deal. But everyone's like,
yeah.
Like, it's not what I'm really interested in. But Sydney's very good. I've always said he's coming with Lewis and Butterly and Rainey, and they're fucking. Those are great guys.
Butterly, I mean, Rainey's just a bear.
He's
of a
big,
human.
yeah.
Once someone told me that it was like and now I tell it to like kids when I get paired up with starter guys. It's like it's not.
You're in the adult classes, right?
Yeah.
You're just crushing 11-year-olds.
It's not weightlifting. It's yoga. You know what I mean? In terms of like your breath, because everyone wants to hold their breath. And I notice the only times I still hold my breath sometimes is when I'm doing a submission to someone, and then I end up like I'm gassing myself out. But yeah, it is very fun, and I'm gonna start trying to do like they do Muay Thai there too. Once the foot gets better, I'd like to start doing that, so at least I can be a threat.
It's
before
useful.
and after the ground.
Even if let's say you don't find the same type of enjoyment out of striking, which people that love jiu-jitsu rarely do, because jiu-jitsu, the like analytical problem solving issue is so fun.
Muay Thai is just math. It's 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4.
It's kind of
Yeah.
on the beginning couple years of striking, I'll say first 6 years of striking, you're right. It is very much bam, bam, bam. And then you get really good, and then you start seeing the jujitsu in striking and the what I consider encouraging behavior aspect of striking, where I can move around, I feint low, and all of a sudden I feint low, your elbow drops, and I'm able to go over the top with a hook. So it is it is a lot more thoughtful than people give it credit. It's a lot more cerebral. It just takes a while. It
just hurts your legs so much. Like kicking those heavy bit. I'm like, and I was saying, I was getting fucking huge bruises on my legs. I go, how long? I was talking to this one guy, again, fireman. I go, how long did it take your leg? Because he just does that, like, what? Like, it just, the whole place reverberates when he hits it. I go, how long did it take to, like, condition your legs? He's like, it doesn't take that. It's like 5 years. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, I was like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. No thanks.
I'm good,
dude. It's cool, man. It's fun.
I mean, it is cool, but it is just so painful. And I like the idea of just...
Here's the thing. The road to being good at hurting people hurts.
Yeah.
And you got to just accept that if you want.
Right.
There's a ceiling you can get to without reaching that level of discomfort.
Buying a gun is painless.
It
actually feels really good.
Awesome.
Oh my God, I feel
firing
like God
a gun
now.
is the best thing in the world. I just have never felt like, I still don't and will never compete. Like, because the difference is, I feel like when you're in these classes and you're with the people that you're always with, like, no one's trying to torque your arm because they know you got to be here tomorrow. Where I've heard so many stories of guys in competitions where they're just they're going for breaks, and you're like, come on, man.
You're like, hey, man, you have to type at work tomorrow.
Yeah,
you know that, right?
Yeah.
If I break your arm, it's going to be bad for you.
Yeah. And especially when you include like competitions above white belt where it's like you could do heel hooks. And it's like, that's the submission that is so dangerous, because everything else, like if I hyperextend your arm, it's going to start hurting and then it's going to break.
Right.
So you have a period to go, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
And there's no damage.
Right.
Heel hooks, it just breaks and then it hurts.
Oh, no.
And then you're like, oh my God. I have to get surgery now.
Yeah.
I'm out for 6 months.
The next year of my life is going to be different. It's going to hurt when it rains.
Yeah.
Like that
especially
sucks.
in America where like a bill from the hospital is like $10,000 a minute.
That's literally like my big thing about doing jiu-jitsu. It's like, I liked it, but I was also like kept getting injured, and I was like, I'm not going to compete. It's like hard. It is like, oh man, I'm going to really severely impact every other part of my life for like a hobby.
Well, and I take preventive, like I'm the fastest tap in the West, dude.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have no ego about tapping. And I also like I've just started wearing like headgear now because I was in Austin and I went to Enzo Gracie there and stuff, and they were like, your ear is like pretty. They're like, you drain your ear, and this one, it was getting so hot, like it was like red hot after classes, and I was like, no, not really, but and they were like, it's getting pretty puffy, you may want to, and I go, well, if I want to do anything in television, I should probably start wearing, but I do think cauliflower ear is very cool, and if I had no aspirations of being on television, I would totally just accept. I just don't want the cauliflower ear where you can't put an AirPod in. That's brutal, but like this top cauliflower ear, it's pretty cool. You got a little bit.
Yeah, I got some more on that.
Oh, that one's a lot. That one's not that much.
Yeah.
Can you put an AirPod in there?
Yeah, but it has to be the soft ones.
Okay.
I can't. The regular ones won't. They won't fit.
Do you? Because I heard the draining doesn't hurt so much as the magnets. The magnets afterwards hurt.
Yeah. So draining itself doesn't necessarily hurt. You're putting a syringe in your ear.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels like a relief when you're pulling all the fluid out.
Right.
If you choose to do the magnet style of what you do is, so people listening, your ear, the cartilage in your ear breaks, and then your body fills that cavity now with blood and pus. And if you don't drain that pus calcifies and it becomes one big thing. That is smart because it makes your ear less likely of moving, equaling less likely to break off, to tear off. When you drain it, you should be pinching that skin so that your body doesn't keep filling it with liquid. Some people use magnets. Some people use like clips, things like that, or like clothesline clips.
Yeah.
I just held it. So what I did, I drained it a ton. And then what I do is I have two separate headgear. One for training, one for sleeping. Because I noticed that so much, I sleep on my side. And so it would get re-aggravated while I was sleeping.
Mine would hurt when I would sleep for sure. Yeah. It hasn't hurt at all. I would notice the difference. Once I take the headgear off, I'm like, oh my God, what did they do? But I'm surprised because your ears are more like pinned back, where my ears are like go out, and so that's what always sucks. Because anytime I'm in a headlock or trying, it's like it's always getting agitated.
Yeah, it just comes with the territory. It's just part of it. And again, our mutual friend Eric, I remember when I first started getting it, I'm like, I think I'm going to leave it, and I think it's cool.
Yeah,
and he's like, you're right, it is cool. I think you should drain it.
It is like
if it goes away and then it comes back to you.
By the way, having cauliflower ear is kind of like having a gun on the side of your face.
Dude,
where people
yeah,
just
'cause
go
you're
like,
like, hey.
I don't want to fuck with that guy.
Yeah.
Never mind.
No, thanks. Yeah, dude.
Dude, if I saw you in a bar and we were getting into some shit and I saw those ears, I'd be like, next round's on me, pal.
Yeah.
My bad.
It's like, dude, you ever when you're in the Midwest at a gas station and you see a guy who's like 5'6", a big square guy, and then you see it's like, oh, you were like an Iowa wrestler or something, and I'm like, I would obviously I'm not like fucking with people at the gas station and stuff, but if there was some kind of altercation, he would immediately win that.
You know what I'd love to see? Have you ever? Because he never did jujitsu, but have you ever like sparred with Mike Vecchione?
No,
because he was he was like a Penn State collegiate wrestler.
No shit.
Like he was like a really, really high end, like one of like the best in the country, professional wrestler.
I wrestled in middle school. I have a school record. Most consecutive losses.
Nice.
0-18 over 2 seasons.
Wow.
Really incredible.
Almost impossible to do.
Yeah. They really, dude, it was so, I wouldn't even try. It was incredible. Because I was like a little short fat boy.
Yeah.
So I wrestled at 144 pounds, and it was like, oh, all these guys who like had just gone through their growth spurt, so they like had abs and were just like smashing me. They would literally like pick me up, throw me, like basically suplex me flat on my back, and I'd be like, well, it looks like I'm not moving ever again.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to lose my points are getting pinned, so I was like, let's get this over with. But like a college wrestler like that, I'm like, oh, that's like the like crazy, like when you see, you're like, that's what like a guy's body should look like. You're like kind of hulking and muscular and like
it was still
like,
so
dude,
strong.
that's like life conditioning where you're like, oh, you're gonna be like dense and strong for your entire
He just
life.
got that thick head, thick neck
Big,
kind of a
yeah.
thing. Like he looks like if he was coming towards you and you just fucking gave him a straight right, he would just eat it and keep coming at you. Like it would just bounce off him.
Like
I had
it's
no
like trying
idea.
to fight the Thing or something where you're like just like, oh fuck, I'm a regular guy. I just broke my hand on this guy.
Yeah, it would be. But I'm always curious to see like what have you ever rolled with Seaton?
No, Seaton, I've talked about it. He's
a black belt.
He's
but
like a Tiger Schulman black belt.
Tiger Schulman black
which
belt.
I think is not an. I'm not saying it's an insult, but there is a deviation of because it's. I think they consider they'll consider their striking part of the black belt.
Oh, interesting.
Because he's fought in the Tiger Schulman competitions, which again. Not saying it's worse in any way, shape, or form, but I think it does.
I'm saying it's worse.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's worse. No,
It's not a full knockout unless you also break a board at the end of the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to hit that little fucking. What are those little pads? It's not a pad. It sounds like a thin. Like it sounds like it would be
It's
a
like
lightning
tatami
sound
paper
effects.
or something. Yeah, it's like pop, 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 pop. It's like,
oh, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's like this. It sounds like if you were a Foley artist, you'd use it to make the sound of thunder. Yeah.
No, I've never trained with Seaton. We've talked a little bit about training, but we just never got around to it. I've trained with a ton of comedians now that I think about it, but
people always. Anytime I ever say I do jujitsu to another comedian, they're like, "Oh, you go with Diego?"
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
everybody's like,
no,
you're
I
like
don't go with Diego. I'm a person,
Yeah.
and I'm in Queens.
Yeah.
Why did you not come to me? Why did you not?
Because the exact reason I live in Queens, and truly, so Butterly was the one that got me into it. And when I moved after we had the kid, I was like, I don't know, I'm kind of interested in jiu-jitsu. And Tim was like, this, because there was no good gyms near me, like actual gyms. And he's like, you tried jiu-jitsu, and I go, there's this place like 6 blocks from my house, and I go, have you ever heard of this like Henso Gracie place? And he's like, those are like a world class. And the one that I go to, the guy who teaches it, he also teaches one in the Bronx. He's like, I didn't even realize how much of like a G this guy is, where there's this podcast clip that I was stumbling upon that had of Gordon Ryan and Jake Shields talking about him.
That's funny.
And basically being like, because I think he like helped train Gordon Ryan
Sick.
when he
Who
came
was
up.
it?
Doug Petrolovnov.
I don't know.
There's a bunch of V's in there and stuff like that. Yeah. He's like, but
Eastern Europe.
He was like a black belt. Yeah, I think he's from like
Transylvania.
No, something with the M. What's that called? I was going to say
Moldova?
Macedonia, but it's not that. It's
Moldova?
Montenegro.
Montenegro.
But he like, I think he was like a black belt in karate and a bunch of other stuff, and then started jiu-jitsu when he was like 30 or later, and then won some very high, again, I don't know enough about but he won some high, like really high end thing that was very impressive. Whatever.
Very
but
sick.
anyway, Gordon Ryan tells this crazy story about how like that when he was a purple belt and he was starting to like start submitting black belts and doing these competitions, and he was starting to fucking feel himself for the first time, and he got done with his competition, he was fucking walking through people, and then he came back and he like rolled with Doug, and Doug tapped him like 4 times in like 2 minutes, and immediately he just had this thing of like, I should just quit. Like he was like, it was demoralizing. And I roll with him now, dude. This guy, I'll show you a picture of him. He's probably like, I don't know. He says he's probably like 225, but he's more than that. And he's just this fucking bear. He's like in his 50s. He's like this bear of a human. And when he's on top of you, dude, it is like a tractor trailer is parked on you, and you can't do. And not only is that, and then he's a black belt. So it's like you can't even.
It's insane. Like
I can't even
don't
reach.
train.
Yeah,
I'm 174, 75 pounds. I can feel like I'm 100 pounds heavier than that.
Yep.
Dude,
I can
yeah.
suffocate you and put enough pressure on you. You feel like it's a house. So someone who is actually big and skilled.
It's like rolling with Roger.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude, it's insane.
It's insane.
I've never felt more useless in my entire life.
And he's not even blinking. He's just like,
And he was also being very nice.
Very nice.
Like,
this is the guy.
interesting.
But
Yeah, I could look like
yeah.
a fucking bear.
I know,
Dude.
and that's like
Petrol
those are
Medic.
all of his whatever his credits are. I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
3-time USA
His
national
credits-
team
Late
member.
night.
he did Jay Leno.
Yeah. But then there's this
got
other
called
guy.
over to the couch.
There's this other guy I roll with. He's 140 pounds. He's another black belt there. This is the
Dude.
guy I was talking about. But he's
Oh,
like
Jesus.
this
Yeah,
this
yeah,
this
that's-
140 pound guy. I weigh 30 pounds more than him. He gets on top. He's like he's flypaper. He's
Yeah.
so sticky. I can't get him off me, and he can feel heavier than me. It's crazy.
Well,
There's a
that's
guy at the
where-
gym. I still think of his knees because he's like so bony.
Yeah.
But then he like gets on you, and you're like, oh, it's like a anaconda. It's like oh, you know, you ever put a snake on you? You're like, this thing's pretty big, but it's not even that heavy. You're like, and then it's like, oh, all of a sudden, I know,
Yeah.
not that I've had a snake around me, but
No,
you know, I
you're in that
understand.
Britney Spears music video.
Yeah,
I
well, I'm a
could
slave
totally see you as a snake guy.
I'm a slave for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay? I got a lot to go around. But it's like you're like, oh, this if I could pick him up with one arm like a kid, but he's like, doesn't matter. As soon as he gets on your arm, you're like, oh, it actually feels like it's gonna first get so compressed I can't feel it anymore, and then fall off my body.
But that's why I think I like when someone's new to the gym and it's their first class with me, what I want to expose them to is the magic of jiu-jitsu as quickly as possible. So when I roll with them, even
You
though
keep going, got your nose.
Got your-
Got your nose. Got
I'm doing
the
this.
magic
I'm in
of
order.
jiu-jitsu. Yeah. you have the road comedian flaming wallet.
Whoa.
Oh, look at that.
So like even though they may be weaker than I am, I make them feel how not strong I am. And I let them move me around. I let them manhandle me. And
But I got to be honest, that's very. It's not condescending, but there is like a placate because both of those professors will do that with me. Will literally like Doug, the bigger guy. He'll literally just like lay on his side and be like, and I'll be like, "Are you ready?" He goes, "Do whatever you want." And you're like, "Come on." I jokingly I go, can I start in like a triangle?" Then he's like,
Whatever,
"Yeah, sure."
yeah,
And I'm like,
doesn't matter.
No, I did immediately. He's just like, dude,
Yeah.
he's out of it.
But that's the point to be
Yeah.
placating. The point to be like, look, I'm good at this, and I'm not worried one bit.
Yeah.
But my job here is to expose you that this
It's so
isn't
demeaning, though.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
You're trying so hard, and they're literally like, and then he mothers fucking milks me or whatever that shit is.
Yeah.
And he literally will talk shit to me. He'll be like, "I missed you so much," you know, and like hold me, and I'm like, "Fuck."
But I think it's important to not just be like, this is a bunch of strong guys.
Right.
I don't want people to think that. I
That
want
is
people
true.
to realize
Yeah.
that this is like a skill that you can learn.
But I am starting to now. I'm actually starting to exercise more at home a little bit because
Because
what
you want to be better at jiu-jitsu, because it's fun.
And also, it is a preventative thing with injury because I notice I am getting a lot of like tennis elbow, like tendonitis kind of a thing because it's so much pulling,
Yes.
like especially
And
with the gi.
and gripping on
Yeah,
the
it's
gi
all
and shit.
grip and pulling, and I'm getting a lot of like tennis elbow in these arms. So I'm just trying to do more like pushing exercises and things like
Sick.
that because I need to. And once I started doing that, it started going away versus just like I was like, oh, I'll just work out more,
Nice.
and then it's just all pulling, and it just is fucking
Get a kettlebell. I'll send you my instructional.
okay.
Boom, easy. Put one in your apartment and get fucking strong.
I have those like adjustable dumbbells that go up to 50 pounds.
All right, there you
from
go.
10, but
That's completely different, but yeah. go
yeah,
ahead.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what's a kettlebell but a dumbbell shaped weird?
Oh, wow.
Diego starts just steaming.
Just like, I gotta go
getting
now.
as hot
Yeah,
as
just
he
because I'm
can.
not swinging it in between my legs.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know. It is. I am like. I do like it. It is becoming like a problem though. It is becoming like an addiction
I think when you talk about it all the time.
I
And
guess
people are
so.
annoyed
Yeah.
with it.
Never this much on a podcast, but for sure, anyone who will listen. Yeah.
It's hard not to.
I seek out the other comedians who do it, like Michael Rowland does it,
Rowland's trained with me.
and what?
He's training with me.
Yeah,
He's good.
and a couple other people that have done it. And when I get like so excited, you know what I mean? Well, I'll like text him and be like, "Dude, I fucking tapped a blue belt today." And I'm like,
Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's fucking go.
he stops writing back, but
Yeah,
it's-
he just keeps sending you this emoji.
yeah.
Oops.
I was trying to get, and maybe I'll try again soon. I was talking to Ronnie Chang about doing like an open mat for all jiu-jitsu, all comedians.
I love that.
That'd be very fun.
Yeah, and he does it a lot too. And he's always like an encouraging person to be like, I've talked to him about jiu-jitsu a lot too. But yeah, he's because it feels like most comics who do jiu-jitsu don't do the gi. Almost all of them do no gi.
Interesting.
It feels like, right? Like
I've
when
never
they
felt-
train with you,
When
everyone's
they
doing
train
no
with me,
gi.
a lot of them do no-gi because they A, haven't bought a gi yet,
Right.
and B, are also doing striking with me. So like a lot of times we'll do a half and half class.
Gotcha.
An Arnold Palmer, if you will.
Yeah.
Um,
I've never felt faster in my entire life because I only did gi for like probably like the first 2 months that I did, and then the first time I went to a no gi class, I was like, zing, zing, zing,
Yeah.
like spinning around. I was
it's-
like, I've never felt faster in my entire
There's so
life.
many
It's
pros.
insane.
It's like the gi. I'm so used. I've done like 4 no gi classes, so I've literally just basically almost exclusively gi. But it's like I don't know what not being able to hold on to somebody, but then also defense wise in no gi is the easy. Like I'm slipping out of
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everyone's so sweaty. I'm like
Yeah.
I'm slipping out of breaks left and right. It's a lot easier to get out of stuff, but it's harder to be offensive. I feel like.
I think you should not you the royal you
Yeah.
should do both and get a good grasp of what you can and can't get away with in gi. You're sticky, but I'm also sticky. In
Right.
no gi, you're slick, but I'm also slick.
Right.
So it's just trade off. You have to learn this ecosystem to survive, and I think is very important.
I think I do have a natural benefit at no-gi because I'm Italian.
'Cause you're Italian.
So I'm greasier than
A
everyone
greasy
else
little-
on the mat.
Well,
And
dude, when I roll with like bald people, and then you try to get them even like you get like a rear naked choke or something, and then they just tuck their chin into the underground garage that's in their neck, and then your arm just slides way off their fucking
sorry.
head because they're just so bald and slippery. It's
Yeah.
like, God damn it, that hurts.
There's no friction. There's
Yeah.
no
I'm gonna
friction.
start wearing a bald cap. I'm gonna
Ooh,
That's
yeah,
a
do
good
that's
makeup.
what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do hair and makeup for jiu-jitsu. I'm gonna
I
get a bald
love
cap.
that. Whatever gets you back on the mats.
Yeah, big fake mustache
On top of your mustache.
on top of my real mustache. Yeah. It's a bigger,
Okay.
faker one.
But I would love to do a comedian thing like that. Like
Yeah.
that actually what I was worried about with doing the Skankfest competition is like, I was like, these guys are gonna be too like they're gonna go into the
Riled up?
stand-up mode. They're
Yeah.
gonna be riled up. They're gonna be too performative because of the crowd, and I'm gonna get hurt. And that's why I didn't want to do it. But then I got talked into it, and I'm glad I did because it was very fun. And Sydney, tapped me with grace,
Yeah.
But there is that thing of like, it would be cool to do a comedians thing like that. That would be very fun.
Yeah, like 10, 15 comedians.
I
I
don't
like,
think-
hey, we're just hanging out. No one's here to prove anything.
What belt is Ronnie?
Ronnie's blue belt. Ronnie's a good blue belt.
Anybody that I've talked to in jiu-jitsu, I don't know any other white belts in jiu-jitsu and comedy. They're all blue or higher.
Yeah. So like people I've trained with, Ronnie's blue. You're white.
Gomez
Amy's
is
just got her
blue.
blue belt, huh?
Gomez is
blue.
but he's like retired.
But he's
from that
retired
now.
because of his knees.
What? Amy who?
Amy Cardeline.
Oh yeah.
She's got her blue belt. But she also only does gi. List only does jiu-jitsu very sparingly. Will text me constantly about wanting to come back.
Yeah.
It is wild.
Gethard.
It is wild.
Gethard's
rolling.
a good blue belt.
I heard he's good.
Yeah.
It is wild rolling with a woman in jiu-jitsu
Mm-hmm.
because there is that thing of like, it makes me kind of feel like how when the big guys roll with me,
Yes.
where you go like, all right, you're better than this at me, but like I can brute strength you.
Mm-hmm.
I can overcome your technical ability with my just like, but there is I gotta be honest, like submitting a woman via choke is one of the most uncomfortable things
Yeah.
in the world. Like literally
Sorry, I'm
choking.
so sorry.
I'm a good guy. I'm a really good guy.
Choking a woman out is very. I'm like,
Yeah.
this doesn't even feel good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even.
I think you should get paid the same.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't like that. I'm like, let me do a leg lock.
Yeah. But I think that relationship between you rolling with a woman or a smaller person and seeing like, oh, I could overpower you now, but I know that when I'm the smaller person, that's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Not for the sake of like me losing is bad, but me knowing that you are succeeding based on an anatomical advantage that wanes with fatigue.
Right.
You should be focusing on things that do not wane with fatigue. Technique.
Yeah.
Right? So like when you roll someone weaker, not giving them any weight and strength and being like, oh, I'm actually a smaller person.
Yeah.
I think that gives you a really good perspective.
The
and it
worst
teaches you
is
quite a bit.
the worst is when someone's just like when they're not ripped, when they're just fat, like just because it's like a pile of loose garbage
It's hard
on
to move
top
around.
of you because
Yeah.
there's just like your hand goes into their stomach if they're mounted, and it's like your hand is like in their stomach, but then there's like another part of their stomach's down here, and you're like,
what the
fuck,
hell?
dude,
There's a
it's
lot.
yeah, it's
Amorphous.
It's awful. Yeah.
It's awful. How about this? How about we do?
Yeah. Do you want to intro this? I'm gonna pee.
Yeah. We're gonna.
I love peeing.
Are we all leaving? Is
No,
this
no,
over?
no, no,
Everyone's getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, you finish it up, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So we do a segment.
Okay.
It's called Energy Drink Corner.
Okay.
Could you guess what it is?
We drink an energy drink?
We're gonna review an energy drink.
Okay, nice.
We've done over 300. There's so many energy drinks.
Wow. I did not think there were that many.
Oh, you have no idea, dude.
Yeah.
But now we have some of our listeners. I hate saying fans. Some of our listeners
Sure.
will send us energy drinks from either a weird place they live or if they're traveling. And Riley sent these from Turkey. Fan
Okay.
Riley, thank you, Riley. This is adrenaline. They have this company in America. I've seen this at 7-Eleven. We've reviewed
Okay.
it, but it's obviously spelled a little bit different. I just love that their tagline is "Feel the adrenaline, get addicted."
Ooh,
Really on the
that's
nose.
an issue.
Look at that typeface. Look how much.
Oh my God, that's too many ingredients.
That's so many words
That's-
in a tiny font.
Too many, and too many parentheses, and
Yeah.
there's some like bold text in there too, which
Yeah.
is like that's like the like
Alarming.
legal warnings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff.
Do you
Oh,
drink
boy.
energy drinks ever? What's your
I haven't
caffeine
had.
intake?
I used to drink. I'm mainly a coffee and tea guy now. I used to drink Red Bull every single morning on my school bus in high school,
Whoa.
and then I had like a brief Monster phase, but I was really more of a Red Bull purist throughout high school and a
just
little bit
straight
of
up
college.
regular,
But
just
then
original Red Bull.
Yeah, just the original. But then I just ended up getting the crashes from those are so large that I
Yeah.
ended up being like, let me just.
Shit, I poured a little too little. Here,
That's fine.
I'll take
take
a little
that. That's
sip.
the can's for you. Or whatever you want.
Here.
Whatever you want.
But I just
Feeny.
got less. I'll take the.
That-
Yeah,
that's-
take that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to finish what we.
No, yeah,
you don't
which
have to
one
finish
you-
your portion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get
Interesting smell.
What's the flavor?
I couldn't tell you.
Dragon fruit.
Oh, it's like
this
dragon
is
fruit.
the most delicious thing I've ever had in my
Holy
life.
shit.
Yeah, this
Feny's
is
on
very
board.
good.
Adrenaline, get addicted. I guess you will get addicted.
Yeah,
Whoa,
it's very sweet.
Whoa.
very sweet. Lot less carbonated than you think it's going to be.
Yeah, it feels like.
Quite subtle.
Do you know when you go into like the Hispanic delis and you see like the glass bottle of like mango juice?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
like
you're this is the-
Doritos.
yeah, but it's like it's like you're like, this is the thickest thing I've ever drank in my entire life.
Yeah.
This feels like that.
This is Jello that hasn't settled yet.
Yeah, this is very sweet. For
Yeah.
sure. I
What
mean,
is this?
you should get a high off just the sugars. In
Yeah.
this, which we can't read because it's in a different language.
yeah. Where's this from?
This is from
Turkey,
Hungary.
you said?
Sorry,
Hungary.
Hungary.
Yeah.
Hungary? Riley, what was it? Hungary or Turkey? Hungary. I believe it was Hungary. Hungary.
Hey,
Riley was.
hungry and turkey.
Yes,
What is
I
it,
meant
Thanksgiving?
Hungry.
Turkey. huh?
So what we do is we review them.
Okay. How do you
We
review
just
it?
talk about it. But 0 out of 5 lightning bolts.
Okay.
0 you hate. Shut up. 0 you
Hey, come on, it's cool.
Your own, insecurity about it came out so fast. Before my eyebrows started moving, you
Yeah.
immediately went, "Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
No,
Shut the
no,
fuck up. It's
You're
regular.
gay."
It's fucking
0 to 5
regular.
lightning bolts. 0 you hate it.
Uh huh.
5 you like it so much you would search it out online to order some for yourself.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna this is my first energy drink since I used to drink Red Bulls a lot, and boy, oh boy, the drinks have come. I've never had one of those. What's the ones that everybody drinks?
Celsius?
Celsius. I've never had one of those.
Great. Those. There's something in there that.
People talk about that like it's like a real problem.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I would say, if I saw that if this was in stock at 7-Eleven and stuff, I would buy. I would say this is at least a a 3 to 4 lightning. This might be a 4 lightning bolt for me because it tastes really good. I wouldn't order it. I wouldn't search it out online.
You wouldn't search it online?
That's
So
a
if you
little.
saw it in the store, you'd buy it.
If I saw it in the store, I'd buy it. If I saw it in the
You
store,
know how
I'd buy
often
it.
you're going into your little Hungary or Turkey
Yeah.
branded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
my
at the
Turkish delis. Yeah.
I'm at the Hungarian market. And I'm buying a sausage you can't pronounce.
Yeah, with a
Yeah.
bunch of weird
and
figs.
an area rug, and yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm like, just put the sausages inside the rug and just
Yeah.
roll it
I
up.
gotta go.
I'll carry the whole
My
thing
little.
on my
Can you
shoulder.
bring the little hand symbol, the finger symbols
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Crank those up? But no, I like that. What
Okay.
you guys are more connoisseurs of it. You tell me.
Yeah.
Is this,
Yeah,
am I,
Fees is 4.
is this an unsophisticated palate that I
No,
have?
this is actually pretty. This is a pretty good. This is a pretty
Yeah.
good one. I like this one.
Good.
This is. It's a little thick and sweet. Mm-hmm. It's not usually how I like them. Thin and mean is what I. That's my thing. But thick. It's pretty thick and sweet. I like the flavor. It is hitting me with like that kind of tartness where you're like
Makes mouth
like
farts.
weird fart noising. But it is good. I'm hesitant on the rating because I can't tell if it's definitely real sugar. Mm-hmm.
There's sugar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that knocks
there's
it down
sugar.
a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Why you want
I want
synthetic?
zero. I want synthetic.
yeah,
I want zero
synthetic,
sugar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Give me the fake
I
stuff.
like. So it's like I'm torn because it's like I think you should be ingesting real sugar instead of that if you're going to ingest sugar. But I have such a problem with ingesting sweet things that I need to find the zero sugar things. So I
But the
think
zero sugar things are way worse for you.
yeah, but I mean I'm drinking.
On a long enough timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like on any timeline for the most part, it's like there's
I'm trying to get pickled.
yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
want to do. I'm
Okay.
going to say this is a 3.6.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Strong.
6.5.
What the
3.65.
Oh,
That's
wow.
strong.
Yeah, I was going to go 3.5.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice. It's not overly sweet. It's not overly pungent or aromatic.
Yeah.
It's a little thick and kind of like I said, melted Jello.
Yeah.
Not crushable. Crushable meaning like you fucking just get it down.
Yeah.
This is like almost like you have to take your time with it. I don't like how the lack of carbonation. I'm talking.
Yeah. No, and I'm listening.
I want to say we're not talking about. I don't know if the artwork or the can factors into your rating at all. But the A in the adrenaline is raised and feels very nice compared to the smoothness
You're right.
of the rest
like a
of the
white
can.
Monster can.
Yeah, it's a nice. It does add a
textural.
That
little
subtle texture.
It's a little. Yeah, it's bumpy.
There you go. That's awesome. Are you are you on Letterboxd?
No. What is that?
Letterboxd is a movie app.
Okay.
You like chart what movies you've been watching.
Oh, okay.
We like
Be a
talking about
dork.
movies.
Oh, interesting. I used to keep for the last 3 years. I would keep a list of all the movies that I've watched in a given year and all the TV shows, and like just kind of keep track of anything.
Oh, that's insane.
And then I stopped doing that this year, and I wish I didn't because there's so many. You forget how many movies you watch
Yeah,
in a year. You
absolutely.
know? And that it's still the same year.
Yeah,
you know?
I'll show you Letterboxd. You might like it.
Yeah.
So where is it? There it is.
I'm trying to think of the last like.
You have like your diary, like basically what you've watched. Like that's what I've watched that month, and then that month.
Oh, I just saw Bike Riders on an airplane. Would you give it 2.5? Yeah, it felt a little. It insisted upon itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and
That's exactly what it was doing.
I think that what's his name was the main
Tom
Austin
Hardy.
Butler.
Oh.
Austin Butler. I think Austin Butler in itself, he kind of it exudes that, and he's just like. He's got too much of like smoldering. Like I think he really wants, and this I think specifically, he really wanted to be his James Dean,
Yes,
Rebel
yes,
Without a Cause,
yes.
Yeah.
and it just wasn't that. But I saw it on an airplane, so on airplane movie,
There's a
curve. It was fine,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'd be pissed, I guess, if I went to the movies and saw it. But I will think one of the better movies I saw this year. Twisters was
I
a
didn't
good.
see it.
It was
Okay.
it was very fun.
Okay.
Especially because you like I walked in being like it's gonna be garbage. It's a sequel. First off, it's gonna be awful. But maybe because I also saw it in IMAX and everything, it was
Yeah.
a very fun
Oh, that's
time,
fun.
and
Okay.
it did kind of deliver. And it didn't get. There was like one or two over the top make you laugh how corny the lines are,
Yeah,
but for
yeah,
the
yeah.
most
Yeah.
part. It was pretty good. Like,
a full penetrating sex scene in it, right?
nothing. Not even a kiss. Not even a kiss.
Yeah, these movies are getting really
Crazy.
anti-sex. It's
Not
really
even
funny.
a kiss, but But no, it was.
I'd be standing up booing.
Yeah.
Make him fuck.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I want to be a little horny sometimes.
I paid $32 for this movie ticket.
Yeah.
Make him fuck.
Well, on Letterboxd, there's a feature. It's called Top 4. You put your 4 favorite movies of all time in, and the Letterboxd has an Instagram account. They'll ask celebrities, and you're not that. So we have you here.
Unnecessary
would
shot.
You, off the top of your head,
Yeah.
obviously,
A little rude.
be able to list your 4 favorite movies of all time?
It's
And
so
you can say
it's
something
so
about 'em.
hard without genre being like genre specific. I
Sure,
feel like,
sure.
and it's probably going to be very like very white guy from Long Island.
Yeah.
You only are what you are.
But for sure, Goodfellas
Yeah,
is
beautiful.
there.
Perfect movie.
Great movie.
It really is a perfect movie because it came on the other day, and I just was like, I didn't remember like the first or second scene.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
like, let
yeah.
me just watch. And in movies like film, I went to like school for that and stuff. So like, movies are all made up of sequences, and you're like, how many? And every sequence in that, there's no skippable scene in that
Yeah.
whole
No.
movie. They're not even like the
It's all
one like, oh,
closers.
here's the one boring. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just A the whole way through.
I didn't know you went to school for a film.
I went to school for like TV production and stuff, and then
cool.
did like journalism and all that stuff. But but it was definitely like I always wanted to be like a director. That was like the intent of there. So
Oh.
Scorsese and Tarantino were always like big, things.
Did you
for me.
see Goodfellas for the first time as an adult?
No, I was probably a teenager. For
Okay.
sure. I mean, I've seen it hundreds of times.
Sure.
I
Okay.
did see Godfather when I was like 13, and I'm like, this sucks. And then I went back and watched it, and I'm like, okay, now I appreciate it. I think Godfather 2 is better than the original. But
Okay.
other
So
favorite.
Goodfellas number was on the list.
Dude,
Goodfellas-
Goodfellas is so good. When I lived with Will Winter, I walk in one night at like 1 a.m. after a show, and he's sitting on the couch. He goes, "I just started Goodfellas. Do you want to watch it?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah." I'll sit down. I got about 3 hours to kill until 4 in the morning.
I defy you to try to go to bed. I've watched it on the road on television with commercials.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
That's
I tell my- yeah,
That's
like,
a 9.
how strong.
Edited.
That's like a movie marathon in
edited
9 hours
without violence and cursing, and it's 9 hours. Then I had to throw a comedy in there. My favorite comedies probably, like ones that I could still watch and enjoy. It's always like Dumb and Dumber was there. I really like Ace Ventura 2. I think Ace Ventura 2.
Whoa.
I think Ace Ventura 2 is better than the original because they don't have to waste time establishing the character. It's just bits for the whole the slinky thing, the leg, the bumblebee tuna.
Oh, so close.
Yeah. And then they're like, "Great, I'll hit the lights," and he's like doing all that. There's so many fun moments.
The switch behind you.
But I that may not make my top 4, but I think like Dumb and Dumber would. I also really love Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Because
Spielberg.
I'm a big Leo guy, and I think
Mike
Tom. I
Sanchez.
love Tom
Yeah.
Hanks.
I love him. I just found out he's an actor. I was like, I just love the way this guy treats women.
yeah.
I think he's awesome.
But I'm like that movie's got everything. It's got like it's funny. It's it's got heart. It's got it's thrilling. I do like that. And then I'm trying to think of like a fourth.
Also, it's cool because the ultimate grift that guy pulled was lying about all that stuff,
Yes.
which is like
Yeah.
even funnier. It makes it even better.
Wait, lying about what?
About
Like-
accomplishing any of those things, apparently. Frank Abagnale,
Yeah.
apparently, has lied about the things in the movie.
Interesting.
So it's like, that's even funnier.
yeah, this guy just wrote a good story. Okay, he's a good writer.
Untrustworthy narrator to a T.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of like cautionary tale movies. Like I loved Blow. I
Yeah.
loved Full Metal Jacket. But I really liked like the first half of all those movies a lot. You know what I
The
mean?
first half of Full Metal
More
Jacket is a
consequent-
lot different than the second half.
Yeah. Honestly, like I watched Full Metal Jacket and I was like, I think I should like join the Marines.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like not what you should get from that.
You watch a guy kill himself because he was in the Marines, and you're like, well, up until the part where he killed himself, it really seems I wouldn't be like him.
Well, I always was like, I wonder if I could join boot camp and just get like ripped and disciplined and then get out. Like I always thought like that would be cool.
You just shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
And just start grabbing your
What's another
your
like?
ranking officer's dick. Yeah, they're like, yeah, get the fuck out of here.
What's
You're like, I got
another-
F, I don't care.
What's another great movie? Like what? I did just see Fury for the first time this year. I thought that was good.
The military movie?
Yeah, the one with
okay.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
And, I
yeah.
mean, that's not a top movie, but I just was like a random
enjoyed
movie
it.
that I
Yeah.
saw this year with Shia LaBeouf too. Great actor, bad guy, but great actor.
Hey, a lot of the great actors are.
It's true. What are some of your guys' best movies? Top 4.
Top floor for me is number 1, 12 Angry Men.
Okay.
Sidney Lumet. Number 2, Wes Anderson's Rushmore. I would say Rush Hour.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Rushmore. The Piano Teacher, Michael Haneke.
I haven't seen that one.
You should watch it, please.
No.
You should watch it, just not with your kid.
Why? Is
Yeah,
it like
don't-
one of those fucked up? Like
It's insane.
like David Lynch insane.
No, different insane.
I don't like.
I'll
That's
show
the
you-
one thing about going to school with film is like the David Lynch society of people, and I feel like one or both of you are. That I can't, dude. I'll never forget having to watch Eraserhead in my like film class and being like so physically uncomfortable and being like, I hate this so much. And then being like, and this whole concept of being like, no, like Mulholland Drive, like you're not supposed to, like Blue Velvet, like it's supposed to be confusing and it's like a fever dream. And you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you for, if I have to read, and it's like some Christopher Nolan movies too. You're like, if I have to fucking research what this was about afterwards, you didn't do a good job of
If I
storytelling.
have to watch the movie and take notes, I'm not having a good time.
Dude,
I did love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
great. I mean, a Tarantino movie I feel like should be in it, but I'm trying to think of like my favorite. I mean, Pulp Fiction feels like hacky to say, or you know.
That's the thing though. I rewatched it maybe like a year or so ago, and I was like, fuck, it's really good.
It's
like
so
that thing where
good.
you're like, yeah, it's like fine, I've seen it a million times, like whatever, and then I like was like, now I'm gonna rewatch it, and you're like, fuck, this
Kill
is
Bill is great.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, Jackie Brown, they're all so good.
I'll send you a video of Louis on Opie and Anthony talking about the piano teacher to them.
Okay.
Because it really makes you buy it. I mean, if you could watch it without watching that video, I would highly recommend it. It's insane.
it's gonna really bum
Give me
you
like
out.
any
Okay.
like any sort of context, because I don't know what insane means.
Yeah.
Is it-
Okay. Insane in like a sexual way.
okay.
Yeah, it's like based in reality. It feels very real.
It's super real. It's
Like,
it's a woman, a French woman living in Germany teaching piano to people, basically. But she lives with her mother, and she's very kind of like not stuck up, but like kind of held in.
and very she's very disciplined. Yeah.
There's a scene where it's a woman just teaching piano and it's beautiful, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. And then all of a sudden she goes to a mall, and you're like, okay, a cool mall. And then she's in a store waiting for a door to open. You realize that she's in a porn store, and she's waiting for a peep show booth. And she goes in and sits down, and you're like, oh, that's weird. And she starts watching hardcore pornography, like face fucking pornography. And you're like, whoa, that's crazy. And she starts rifling through the trash bin and picks up a tissue that has cum tissue and starts sniffing it while watching the movie, watching the porno.
Very okay.
And this is how you.
And
this
me
is the
selling it.
introduction.
Yeah.
the
This is the
credits
introduction
haven't
to
even
the
started
character.
yet. Yeah.
But it's unbelievable.
Oh, the Shining is probably in there.
That's a great one.
because Kubrick's got to be in there somewhere, and I feel like that's my like most watched of all of his films as well.
Have you changed your top four?
I took
Cool Hand Lookout?
I took Cool Hand Lookout and I put Happiness back in there.
Okay.
If you want to talk about fucked up movies.
Yeah.
It's bad.
And Luke, I remember.
Cool Hand
too.
Luke is that's one of the best plane movies of all time.
Yeah.
Put that on a plane and you're like fucking going crazy. I'm
Oh, you
spitting.
said plane movies. I was to say, if you want to talk about like best play movie, like movie that was a play that was adapted for thing, Glenn Ross. That's in my top. Just from the
Put the coffee down.
dude, every person in that movie gets verbally eviscerated at a point, and as a comedian, you're like, dude, this is the funniest, most brutal. Like people want to talk about like roast battle, like fucking what Alec Baldwin says, what Al Pacino says. Kevin Spacey, even at everyone forgets the Kevin Spacey thing at the end where he starts fucking laying into.
I would never forget or forgive Kevin Spacey.
Dude,
I know what he did.
That movie is fucking so well, and like just the whole Mamet is just that's got to be
That's a
in there
great
as
one.
well.
Yeah.
I love Glenn Ross. Fuck, dude, just the way that movie starts, where it's just like, do you ever take a shit that makes you feel like you just slept for 12 hours? Like, I'm in. Whatever's gonna happen, I'm in.
I'm taking my shoes off. I'm
It's
watching
also
this
crazy
fucking
that movie isn't 3 hours long.
Well,
I feel like it would be. It's so tight.
And
I
it's
mean,
so
it's a play,
strange
so it's-
that there's only, because it was a play, like there's only just The Office, and then they have the one Chinese restaurant scene, and then they have like the alleyway in the rain. And for the most part, everything is just in that. And you're like, boy, to maintain that fucking, intensity throughout that whole thing, and it just ramps up, and just that the other guy that was in, the guy who plays the husband of the guy who gets fucked by Richie Roma, who's in Dog Day Afternoon, and a bunch of he was the guy in, I think he was the guy in Dog Day Afternoon, right? Like the other Was he the other bank?
That's the guy who's robbing the bank with Al Pacino. That's the guy that's been in 4 movies and they're all bangers. What the fuck is his name?
Dr. Vinny Boom.
He's in The Conversation. He's in Godfather, and he's in.
But that guy was definitely in other stuff. The guy who was the husband.
Yes, the guy
getting
the husband
fucked
is a
up. I forgot what
different guy.
he's
I've seen him a million times. It's
Fun
just
fact:
can't.
my grandfather was an NYPD officer. He was on site for Dog Day Afternoon. He was one of like the people. He was like a big deal back then in like the police, and he was like one of the people like in charge of like that whole.
That's very
thing.
sick.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Wait, he's not on camera. He's just in the.
No, like in real, like the real life, like not the movie.
Sorry, I misunderstood.
No, like
That's
the real life
crazy.
event. He was one of the people like getting the negotiations. Like he was like leading the force of.
That's even crazier. Holy shit.
Yeah. And he was there for like the LaGuardia, the heist from Goodfellas, and the LaGuardia bombings and all that shit like that. And yeah, it was a wild time.
That's nuts. You got to sit down with him and talk to him. Unless he's dead. And I just made a mean thing.
He is dead, but I did talk to him about it before I talked to him. I had like one of those like, I'm so happy I did it. This was probably in like 10 years ago. I had like just a great me and him hour conversation.
So
like
sick.
And I wish he was around now only because now that I'm in my mid 30s, I don't know about you guys, I've just gotten super into World War II stuff.
Oh,
there you go.
It hasn't caught me yet.
Oh, buddy.
But don't worry.
Band of Brothers.
I started painting.
Okay.
So that's what I got.
Right, you'll
That's
probably
the one.
never be into it, but I did think that's actually
I'm just painting war is bad.
Yeah. By the way, Hitler was into painting, so
Yeah.
So be careful.
And if it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have your little hobbies. So actually, it's pretty good.
But Band of Brothers and like the Pacific and like even that Masters of Air thing. But like that's what my grandfather, like talking to him and learning all the shit that he did. I just kind of like wrote it all down, but I didn't appreciate it until I started learning about. Now I'm like way into World War II and listen to some podcasts and stuff. And like he did 52 missions in those bombers. The one that Austin Butler's in that new Apple show, like that was what he did. He was in like those big fucking sky buses, and he was the radio gunner in like in that little fucking thing that was just exposed. Yeah, dude. And so like,
please kill me.
and the things were like everyone was dying except him, kind of a
Jesus
thing. And
Christ.
and then his brother signed up for the war. His brother his brother got drafted and died in the war. He volunteered for the war, didn't die. He met his wife like, right before he went to war, proposed to her, that kind of thing. They were so poor, her wedding dress was made out of his silk parachute.
Wow.
And then
that's fucking sick.
And on their 60-yeir wedding anniversary, she put the dress, and she still fit into the dress. They were married 7 years. It was crazy. It's like they're like the Notebook. They were like the only reason. The only reason I believe in love is because of those two. My parents are divorced.
Sick.
Everyone's parents I know is divorced.
Yeah.
They're amazing. Yeah.
That's so sick.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for being here with us, buddy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Thanks
Where
for
can people
having me.
follow you and listen to you and see you on the road?
I'm Mike Feeney on social media, MikeFeeneyComedy.com, punchup.live/Mike Feeney. I got shows in, I'm doing Soul Joel's in January. I'm doing I have a bunch of dates up on my website, a lot of stuff in 2025. And I have 2 YouTube comedy specials out on my channel, youtube.com/Mike Feeney Comedy. Appreciate you. Come talk jujitsu to me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Support the boy.
Yeah, if you go see him live, try to grapple him.
Yeah.
Arm drag him. He can't defend his
Yeah,
single
I'm
leg.
not good at stand-up yet.
Yeah.
I'm good at stand-up comedy.
Hey,
yeah.
Fuck, cut it out. No!
Follow Mike Abruzzi at Mike Abruzzi.
Follow Diego Lopez at this Diego Lopez.
Patreon.com/a little time pod for 4 bonus episodes a month, plus a video of all 8 episodes a week before everyone else.
Yes.
We love you.
Also, I
Merry
kept telling
Christmas.
people I was going to the wrong city. I'm not going to Ann Arbor, Michigan. I'm going to Appleton, Wisconsin. Much
very
different
similar.
place.
Very similar.
Very
everyone.
different place.
I'll
very
see you in
different.
Appleton
Sorry.
in January and some other show after that.
Bye. We love
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.